Hello and welcome. My name is Hayley Jane. This is the Big Condo Records podcast. Tonight we have my fabulous guest, Dave Coates, aka Ascani. He is a DJ, producer, sound engineer, and master of mastering. If you need your tracks mastering, this is the guy that you go to. We've known each other for a long while. Dave, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us where it all began?
Okay, we've known each other for around 20 odd years. You know, getting
back
old
in the
and
college
all that,
days,
you know,
yeah.
getting a bit grey haired and that. But yeah, it all pretty started when I was a kid. I was into listening to music. I remember my mum getting a tape recorder thing, like a ghetto blaster. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I used to rob it all the time and record radio shows and record music and cut them up. Then I think when I was a kid, I went on went to a pantomime in Liverpool. And I was sat there on the coach, bored out of my skull, listening to this Acid House tape that I robbed off my brother. And he had future Acid tracks. And when he had the acid noise, that was it, I was hooked. So as I got a bit older, I started getting two old MIDI record decks, trying to learn to mix on that. Then got a pair of belt drive decks when I was 16. I just sort of built up from there. It was just... At first, it wasn't I want to be a musician or anything. It was just something that, built up over time. So I think my first gig was in 97 in the City Bar in Chester. That was cool, that actually. It was a little gig. I hooked up with Paul McGuinness, Paul Bugby, and we started a thing called In Between DJs. And that was based around Chicago house, more sort of funky, driving sort of sound. And we were lucky we got signed to a Detroit label, called Wall Shaking Music, by a guy called Aaron Carl. He was part of it. I think he'd done stuff with a group called Underground Resistance, who were massive pioneers in techno. So we got gigs through it, this, that, and the other. But as well as that, I wanted to do some stuff of my own, and that's where the Ascani thing came from.
Ascani, so that's your kind of stage name. Where does that come from?
Everyone says to me, is it a Jewish name? Is it a Muslim name? Is it, Jamaican, whichever? And it's not. It came from a comic. Oh, you're a bit of a comic fiend, aren't you? You like your comics. You're a bit of a Spidey man. Yeah, it came from the X-Men comic. There's a character called Cable, who's known as the Ascani son. It means something like Lonely Warrior. So I thought, that's a cool name, that. You know what I mean? And I thought, it might, it's a name that people might go, what is that? Or, trying to figure out what it is. Have a bit of intrigue to it, so I just sort of stuck with that, really.
Yeah. And what was it about the acid tracks in the beginning stages? What was it that drew you in?
It wasn't Rick Astley. No. In fact, Rick Astley's all right, to be fair. No offence, Rick. It was just the hypnotic rhythm of it and the driviness of it, and the fact that you could just lose yourself in it. Where a lot of pop music, it's just, you don't really lose yourself in a lot of pop. And I think as I got older and started going out clubbing as well, that's where it really hit home. And, I learned by the likes of Andy Weatherall and, Sasha, John Digweed, Danny Howells, I used to go Cream, the Hacienda, all that sort of stuff. And it just opened the world to me. I thought, I want to be a DJ. Yeah. So got me decks, like I said, the old little belt drives, they were awful. But learned to mix, and it just, like I said before, just went from there. Yeah,
the plant was seeded. And I know you've said to me in the past that you was signed to quite a well-known DJ, Paul Oakenfold. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, that, because I'd done a bootleg of BT Flame in June, and it made a quite sort of orchestral sound and this, that, and the other. And I put up a post on Facebook saying, who has the rights for this track? And a mate popped up saying, actually, Oakenfold still got the rights to it. I'm good mates with Oakenfold. There's a lad who's a year above me in school.
Yeah, good old social media. Put yourself out there.
So he said, why don't you contact this guy called Tarek? He sorts out all the, demos and stuff. So I sent him the BT track. Apparently Oakenfold liked it and, opened up a few concerts and stuff like that that he was doing at the time of it.
With your track?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
From what I've been told. After that, I was asked to do a remix of one of his songs. I can't remember the name, but it was featuring an artist called Little Nicky. And she was a writer for I think S Club 7, all sorts of bands like that. But she decided to do her own sort of thing. That got hammered by Oakenfold on his show. And then after that, I'd done basically a 4-track EP. It was just snapped up straight away. You got Perfecto, Mondo, Track of the Year, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've been signed to a variety of different labels over the years. But that's probably like a bucket list sort of thing. Just Crafted Music, which is a decent progressive house label. It's quite solid with what they actually do. They have a show on Radio 1 and I think on AM Radio 6 as well. So I've got a track coming out called Forgotten, featuring Ascani, coming out in the next couple of months. I think June, something like that. So yeah, it's getting there, bit by bit.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've evolved, like since you first started out? How do you think that your music has evolved from then?
I think age is definitely one thing. I think music tastes change over time. Even though I still love that original sound, it's just, I don't know, I just grew as an artist, just learned more keys and chords, and I think that opened my ears a lot more to different sort of genres and different sounds, and thought, you know what, I want to incorporate some of them little elements. The thing I find with dance music sometimes is that, it's repetitive, and some of the production is just pretty much the same. They follow the same tutorials, the same pattern all the time. That's sound, not knocking that at all, if that's how you work, sound. But I want to work in a more experimental way. It's like, dance music in its original form is experimental, like any genre of music. And I think when it loses that experimental, it just falls apart. So I'm trying to add that sort of into it, where people can get their heads around it. Instead of like, oh my God, what's all this, sonic noise, blasting my ears and stuff like that. So yeah, I think over time I've grown, and I think, you learn different stuff, and that's the one good thing about music. It's a constant learning curve.
And I think you're mostly self-taught, and I've been in your studio and you've got a big setup, and when I watch you like clicking all these buttons on the screen, I'm like, what the hell? How have you managed to get your head around all of that software? Because it's no easy feat, is it? Ableton and Logic, as lots of people shy away from that, and to see you just clicking away, and you just, how have you got your head around all of that?
It took
just
time,
perseverance and just practice.
Yeah, practice. But I mean, it's not as complicated as what people think. I mean, when you look at like loads of channels in Logic or Ableton, people go, bloody hell, or you look at a big mixing desk and it's all sorts of buttons and sliders and stuff like that. The thing is, each one does the same thing. Well, it's because there's that many there in front of you, it sort of overwhelms you. So once you figure out, okay, just do it one by one by one by one.
I think you've tried to show me several times, haven't you? I was like,
the thing is, it's something that you do on your own. I mean, I can show you what to do and this, that and the other. But the only way you really learn is basically sitting down, doing it yourself, because that's where your ideas start to flow.
And that's one of the things I admire about you, Dave, because you're relentless and you've never given up in the 20 years. We've all had our ups and downs in our careers, but every time I come back and I see you, you're still at it. You've still got your finger on the pulse. And everyone comes to you for their tracks to be mastered. And I do really respect you for that. You've just not given up, and you, like you say, you're innovative, and you're kind of keeping your finger on the pulse of what's currently out there, and you're using those influences. Who are your influences anyway, from the past and currently?
Oh God, probably stuff like Andrew Weatherall. That's a prime one, because I remember seeing him in Cream years ago in the Annex, and it just blew me away. I had loads of heavy metal moshes there at the time, and they were like that at first. By the end of the night, they were all like moshing away to Andy Weatherall. Sasha, John Digweed to a degree. Especially the Nova Exposure album, it sort of opened the idea up of like, well, you know what, you can do a house album that's, deep melodic, has, different, tones and elements than the usual sort of thing. Lately, tricky one, that really. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, I don't listen to as much music as what people think.
Busy making your own.
I'm trying to think who would be my influence at the moment.
Because your sound has changed a little bit, hasn't it? It's gone a little bit. The tracks that you had on at yours the other week for 5 hours, it was just mellow in the background, but it was really, really good stuff.
I think we've been looking at like a lot of drum and bass artists at the moment, like some of the older stuff like LCJ, Buckham, that sort of melodic drum and bass sound. So probably that is probably what my influence is at the moment.
No, that's the stuff since what you produced in the past. That for me was like, this is my favourite stuff that you're doing at the moment.
Trying to do stuff with a little bit more meaning, a little bit of a story, that goes a part of it. Because again, if you don't have that in music, it's a bit, you know what I mean? Yeah. Don't mind going where.
So back in the day, what would have been your biggest dream gig that you could have done? And I know you like the Cream environment. Would you have loved to have played there? Or what would have been your biggest dream gig?
Ooh, I'd probably say playing in the Hacienda.
Oh, yeah.
Main room in a Hacienda, or basically downstairs in the basement for some filthy techno.
yeah, fabulous. So I believe you have a upcoming album coming out, yet unnamed.
Yeah,
Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's how can I put it? I've been working on this album on and off for a good few years. Started out, I think, around 2017, and built 4 sort of down tempo tracks. That tweaked the attention of a few people in the industry, but I wasn't quite happy with it. And it's one of them, is getting the feel right of what you want.
Yeah, because I know you never push anything. You kind of, every time I say to you, Dave, get it out, and you're like, no, it's not ready. You're patient with it, aren't you? You're not one for just like chasing the fame and getting the big gigs. You put it out when you know it's ready.
At the end of the day, if you're not happy with the track or the album, then what's the point of releasing it? You've got to be happy with it. You've got to be like, you know what, this is some of the best work I've done. You know, not in an arrogant way or look at me or anything.
Yeah. Sell yourself,
Yeah. Well, yeah, the album, I suppose it's my journey over there in the past 4 or 5 years. You know, like with COVID, stuff like that. I think, like, with living in Runcorn, I'd noticed a lot more of Runcorn, even though I've lived there for years. But, like, looking at, like, say, like the shopping city, for example, it's quite dystopian. So it's sort of like gave me a few little influences of, you know, creating that dystopian dark tone for certain tracks. There's a track I've done called Busway to Nowhere, which is quite melodic, and that's sort of based on, I don't know, a journey going on the bus in Runcorn.
On the expressway. Yeah.
But it's more of expression what's inside. Each track's got a bit of a certain meaning, and I think when I release the album, it's going to do like a little bit of a sort of quiz with people to see if they can figure out what the meaning is, and they win a prize.
Have you had any collaborations with anybody on the album, or who would be your bucket list collaboration?
Well, there's one here, surprisingly, that, you know, wanted to work with for a long while. I think he's going to be interviewed next, Mr. Junior Davis.
Yeah.
That's one. I got another guy called Rob Barth. He's doing some rapping on one of the tracks called Hive Mind. And also a girl called Laura, who works under the name Angel. She's released stuff with, like, Yusuf on Circus Records in the past. Brilliant vocalist, so hopefully she'll be on the album as well.
Yeah, nice.
So I was almost there.
And so how many tracks have you produced so far in your life? That's a big question, isn't it? Because like, I've seen your...
Oh, God. I'd probably say, I don't know, 2000,
I was
maybe
going to say, it must be thereabouts from back in the day, yeah.
2000 tracks, God.
Yeah. And your album's going to be, when you're thinking about pushing out your album, did you say?
I'm hoping to get the album out by the summer, and I'm trying to organise basically a few, you know, like album launch parties in Liverpool, Manchester, a few places like that. So yeah, fingers crossed to be done by the summer.
Yeah, because when I was listening to it the other week, I was like, Dave, this is ready to go. What is it that's kind of behind the scenes? What work do you need to do now before you kind of let us have it?
It's, well, obviously you got to sort out some recording with the artists, which hopefully should get them back this week. After that, it's just basically, obviously finish the tracks off in that sense, artwork, advertisements, figure out a decent sort of advertisement plan with it, and then just push it as much as I can. It's going to be a self-released album. It's not going to be like through, like, you know, Perfect or anything like that. So yeah, it's a bit of a risk for me, but
in this day and age, with all the platforms that are available to us, it's gives us a little bit of an opportunity to push our own work, doesn't it? What platforms could we find you on?
Well, this album, it'll be on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, tell us a bit about that one.
Bandcamp, even all scouts there. Bandcamp, it's just basically a site for artists to release music, generally. I think it came about because of, like, sort of a bit of a backlash with, like, streaming sites like Spotify, because, I mean, not to be funny on them, but you're giving your artist like 0.0.1% of a penny. You know what I mean? And I think this site just basically thought, you know what, why don't we do a site where it's about the artist? They get most of the money, we take a percentage. I think that's a fair deal, that. But yeah, I've still got stuff on Spotify and Beatport and all the usual suspects and stuff.
Beatport, Spotify, and Bandcamp. We can find
Pretty
you on.
much, yeah.
Yeah, and it's Ascani.
Yeah.
For your Instagram.
I think it's under Ascani Music.
Ascani Music, fabulous. So from here, where do you see yourself going in the future?
Oh God,
what would you like? Where would you like to be?
I'd like to be obviously performing, do a few festivals, stuff like that. Get back into DJing as well as much as I can. Obviously with the health issues with me back, and just keep doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Just you know, that's what I want to do with my life, music.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of my passion. Yeah.
Creative. Yeah.
Yeah. If it gets fame, success, and an 18-room mansion out of it, then happy days. But if not, you know, I can. You know, I've tried. That's all you can say.
Yeah. No, you never give up, do you? Like I say.
No,
I've got the finger on the pulse.
I mean, all right, I'm 46 years of age, but what's age?
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
I hate it when people say to me, I'm too old, I can't do that now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, just you try something new. If the fire isn't there, just pursue it, yeah.
You do what makes you happy, and that's all you can do in this life. I went all philosophical then for a second.
Yeah. Fabulous. Well, Dave, we look forward to hearing your new album, which will be coming out hopefully in June, so I hope you keep us updated on those dates, and like I say, you can check him out on Bandcamp,
Beatport, Spotify, Tracksource, and generally any digital stream sort of site.
And will you be hoping to gig in the city at some point?
Well, hopefully in the summer, once to sort the album out, it frees up a bit of time to sort out doing a couple of events. So I'm hoping to do like a couple of like all-dayers, garden parties, sort of thing. Getting old now, so I want to be in bed by 1 o'clock and stuff.
Fabulous, yeah. Well, lovely. Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure, and keep your finger on the pulse, keep doing what you're doing, and we'll have you back on again maybe in the future when your album's out, when you've got your gigs to promote. So thank you so much. That was Dave Coates, Ascani Music. You can check him out on all the social platforms. Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been Hayley Jane and Dave Askani for the Big Condo Records podcast, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you so much.